Congratulations, San Francisco. You've ruined pizza. First the Hawaiians, and now you.
What's up, my bud smokers and movie lovers, and welcome to another episode of 5 on It, a show where we do two things, smoke doobies and review movies. We are your hosts. I am Francisco. He is Sir Frazier. And so today's episode, we are reviewing a 2015 classic, a movie that has propelled a multi-billion-dollar franchise. We are going back to the original Inside Out. But before we dive into that, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, do all that stuff with all your fellow bud smokers and movie lovers. And Sir Frazier, what are you smoking on?
Man, you know, I'm back at it again with Rocket Pop, man. That's a cartridge from Higher Culture. That's something we both have smoked on a few times now. And really great flavor. It's a nice hybrid, so it's not, not too hard hitting, but definitely one of my favorites of late. How about you, man? What you got in the pen?
Went back to I wouldn't say original, but I went back a little bit, going back to Crystal Clear, doing a little wedding cake. I went off the Crystal Clear train. I went to a place called Forbidden Farms. I was checking out their cartridges a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, they were having a little sale on it, and they're okay. They're all right. So I went back to Crystal Clear. They kind of came down in price, which is a little lovely surprise. They used to be $30 a cartridge, and now they're $25. So I definitely had to jump on that as soon as I saw the price change, and it is serving me very well.
Well, no, to your point, Higher Cultures, they're usually pretty reasonable too. I mean, I think I got it for $25 for just for the cartridge. I think there's a gram. But yeah, man, definitely didn't disappoint, and the price is right. So,
Yeah, it's taking us where we need to be.
Exactly. But yeah, diving right into Inside Out. So this is actually the first time that I saw this movie. Cisco recommended checking this one out, especially with the new one hitting theaters pretty recently. But this movie, as was mentioned, dropped in 2015. A quick summary of this movie is after young Riley is uprooted from her Midwest life and moved to San Francisco, her emotions, joy, fear, anger, disgust, and sadness, conflict on how best to navigate a new city, house, and school. This movie was directed by Peter Docter, known for directing Monsters, Inc., Up, and Soul. He's also been involved in a lot of other projects.
Numerous projects.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think Pixar, this dude has his hands in numerous projects, whether it's writing, directing, executive producing. When you think of Pixar, I think he's head of creative as well. I think he's a creative, head of creative officer. So Peter Docter goes hand in hand with Pixar, it seems like nowadays. So
yeah.
He's a valuable asset.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and he's been involved in so many different projects. I mean, those are just some of them that I mentioned. And he actually is a 3-time recipient of Best Animated Feature. And that's the most of all time. He got those for Monsters, Inc., Up, and Inside Out.
Dude, just to reel off, just to put a little even more respect on Peter Docter's name. This dude, he wrote the original Toy Story. I mean, this is going off of a wiki. I mean, so who knows but how accurate it is. But if it is accurate, my goodness. Was an original writer of the original Toy Story, Toy Story 2. Monsters, Inc. was a director of that as well, as you said. Original writer off of Wall-E. That's another one that people consider one of the best Pixar movies. Writer, director of Up. Then he's a producer on Brave, Monsters University. Then we're doing Inside Out as we're doing. Soul. I mean, producer of a new movie coming up called Elio, Turning Red. I mean, this dude has his fingers in everything Pixar related damn near. So
yeah, I mean, and he's definitely a part of the magic that is Pixar for really since it's early days.
He's the doctor.
I was to say him and John Lasseter, I believe, are just really huge figures in the history of Pixar and just the evolution of animation that house has really helped kind of usher in. But yeah, one thing we're going to talk about the cast. I love the casting in this movie. It was very spot on, very thoughtfully and well done, especially with Phyllis Smith, who many of you will know from The Office. as Sadness, and Lewis Black. Many of you know from his cameos on The Daily Show back in the Jon Stewart days, as well as his stand-up comedy. He plays Anger. We have another Office alum in Mindy Kaling, as discussed. Bill Hader as Fear. That was just another. I mean, he just nails this role as well.
I didn't even realize it was him at
me
first,
neither.
too.
I had to look it up.
The cast, and I was like, damn. I mean, granted, I just don't recognize his voice as much. I'm more recognize his face. But when I looked at the cast, I was like, oh shit, I didn't even realize he was in this.
Yeah. And of course, Amy Poehler is Joy. I mean, Amy Poehler, many of you will know. I mean, she's Parks and Rec. Leslie Knope. I mean, she's been in a lot of different roles and shows, but she plays Joy. I mean, again, man, just really, really great casting. It translates to just how fun this movie is. It's really interesting too, just reading about the production history behind this. I mean, this movie was took several years to really craft. They had a huge budget, 175 mil. As you mentioned, it got upwards of 858 mil from what I've seen from the box office. So I mean, this movie was a home run.
Almost Billy. That is not the measure of success, making $1 billion. I know people be like saying that a lot. Is this movie going to make $1 billion? I mean, crossing $1 billion is no easy task. I mean, even though Marvel makes it look easy, crossing $1 billion is no easy task. But for a new movie, I mean, granted, it is in the Pixar realm. You're hitting the kids and the family and all that type of stuff. But you can easily fall on your face. There's plenty of good animated features aimed towards the family that do not hit at all. So for them coming out the gate and putting out a project like Inside Out, man.
Yeah, I mean, for someone who just saw this movie, we're in 2024, and this movie came out 2015. I mean, this movie is, I was like, damn, this definitely fell under the radar for me. It's an excellent movie. Reading a little bit behind it on the background of it, going back to just like the process. This started off like initially, I think, Sadness wasn't the central antagonist to Joy. I think it was actually Fear. That's the character that it was going to play kind of more of the antagonist, as kind of vying for the influence over Riley, the young girl. And then, after kind of working and doing rewrites, Doctor thought that Fear wouldn't be as great as a kind of mirror to work with as Sadness would be. And I think that I'm trying to think what would that have looked like, in some of these situations, how much different would the story have been?
If Fear was
if it would have been Fear and Joy as opposed to Joy and Sadness.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the really great things about Joy and Sadness's relationship is it very much reminds me of some of the really great relationships that have been in, whether it's Toy Story in terms of Woody and Buzz, or even Finding Nemo with the father and Dory, right? I think Sadness helps Joy kind of surrender control and realize that the spectrum of emotions are going to be a part of her life.
Yeah.
And I can't she needs those moments just as much as she needs my moments.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the over the course of the movie, it's her kind of coming to that realization. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, you see that when she's looking at the core memories, and you can see the sadness, but then she ends up finding joy through some of the sadness, and that's kind of what makes her realize that she has to go through her emotions in order to experience everything. And so, I mean, I think it just works a little bit better with Sadness because it just feels like it's the more of the mirror image of it, like joy and sadness. And when you think about it, you have to go be sad to find your happiness. It just works a little bit better more than Fear. When you think of Fear, what's on the other side of Fear? Just you find more, I guess. What's the word I'm looking for? More. You're not heroic, but you just have more. God, the terms on the tip of my tongue.
The opposite of heroic.
You feel just more assertive or more. You have more confidence. Yeah. So that to me, that's more typical of what you would find on the other side of Fear. So I think maybe that's why it probably didn't work as well as Sadness. But in the story, I mean, it plays
definitely
itself
works
really well because, like I said, when she's looking at all the core memories, it just makes it work really well.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. Reading again about the writing process behind the scenes is that they started off with a much larger list of emotions that they wanted to kind of tackle. Everything from ennui. I think there was just like a whole roster of different emotions that they ended up not making the final cut. And I thought that they did a good job of not overloading, yeah, because I think with these emotions that they rolled with, I think that the kind of relationship each of them are having, and the memories, I love the visuals of it, right? The memories, how they're kind of encapsulated in these marbles, and I thought that like the visuals of that were really cool. I mean, let's just jump into the plot.
I was gonna say quickly too about like not overloading it. I mean, with like having all of those emotions, like that kind of just not overshadows, but it just kind of casts a wide net over everything. Like joy, it's like you don't need joy and happy or stuff like that. And so with those emotions, I think, like you said, they did a good job of not overloading with too many emotions. But I'm sure some of those characters did come to life in the second one.
So I was just saying, so also great point. But yeah, I think 27 emotions was what they kind of initially were considering, everything from love, despair, embarrassment, all those things. Embarrassment I could definitely see, especially with the sequel as she's heading into puberty and teenage years.
Yeah.
But with that said, though,
didn't they have an embarrassment? Did you see Inside Out too?
I haven't seen that one yet.
You haven't seen that one?
I'm going to, though. Definitely going to see that now.
Then I won't even say anything.
Why don't you say that? Because I'm a fan of this franchise now. This movie, like,
they obviously, I will say the central plot of the second one is she's dealing with, like, she's going through puberty. They mentioned that that's a little Easter egg in the first one, and so
what's puberty, or what you said? What's puberty?
Puberty, or they assume like puberty, or
what did she say? Yeah, was it disgust?
Yeah, ew, what is that? But that's like a nice little Easter egg for the second
foreshadowing. Yeah.
But she's dealing with anxiety in the second one.
Okay.
But then there's like they have like,
hello darkness, my old friend.
Like which like how many emotions is it? Let me see. You got anxiety, envy. Yeah, you do have embarrassment. Disgust. You already have disgust, fear, sadness, anger, joy. You have those 5, and then I can't even read what the other one says. But you do get a couple of different, obviously, characters that comes in the second one. So you'll see a few of them come to life whenever you get around to that.
So something that I read about this movie, just again, kind of more on the just kind of on the production side. So this was the first Pixar movie to be produced without involvement from Steve Jobs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because this get dropped in 2015. Jobs died in 2011.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, dude, this movie took 5.5 years.
Well, it seems
to make. I mean,
animated movies just take
that's
a long time. It's just a lot of stuff to do.
Well, I mean, you know
how good these are Pixar is.
Well, I mean, we talked about this with Toy Story. The way that they've unfolded those movies, and I'm not saying like the second one was even planned. I have no idea. But they have structured them in a way where they don't rush it. That's one thing I have to give them, that they do not rush just giving us the movies, here. They actually take their time and craft these really great stories, and the staying power of those franchises is revealing of that, right? And I think this franchise is also gonna, I don't know how many movies we're going to get out of this. I guess that's an unanswered question, I guess.
Honestly, I was thinking about this when watching it, when they start going into like everybody else's emotions or in their head, whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like the mom, the dad,
even the cat, the dog,
the clown. He's like, 6 years of like
drama school.
Who's the birthday girl? Huh? Hey! Hello?
6 years of drama school for this. is okay. This is fine. We just need to go to our happy place. Triple them gun.
Dude, I didn't even know I think the first time I watched it, maybe I just turned it off immediately. But that was definitely, I saw that for the first time just recently watching it. But honestly, I think you could go anywhere. There's going to be a third one at some point. You don't make $1.5 billion and stop there.
That's money on the table.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be an Inside Out 3 at some point. But you can just go, you can follow Riley until honestly, until she gets old, because your emotions change. Your emotions always like evolve over time. Yeah. So if you really wanted to go and just follow Riley, and like she's almost like Andy in a way. You can do. I feel like you can do that, or you can, spin off and go a different direction with a whole different character and a whole different like type of person, or you could get real fucking dark with it. Go rated R, man.
Bruh.
Hey, bro, and you
lost me. Dude, he said, we going NC-17, baby.
You know what I'm about to bring up, bro? Somebody said you could get John Wick with it. You could see the Inside Out version of John Wick.
Yo, wild.
You see like the emotion of murderous rage.
And there it is, folks. He brought John Wick into it.
Hit that scoreboard. Like I'm saying, you could literally do that. That would be a wild movie if you saw like just like a more aggressive Inside Out version of like you follow this dude who's like, I don't know, just beating ass, or follow some chick. I don't know who it would be, but it'll be like a more action based type of movie, and you see like their type of emotions playing through it. That'd be kind of wild.
You know what would be hella crazy, because you said we can go R-rated version with this. Imagine like we fast forward to the future and like she's like a sex worker. Or like she's like a addict of some kind. You're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, you stole my head. Oh my god.
This is not what I expected. Yeah, they breaking new ground over here. I'm sorry.
Dude, there's a way you could do like a rated R version of this movie. I'd definitely watch that shit.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Pixar.
It be animated. It could be even a live action version. Bro. That'd be fucking. It almost work how
That's crazy.
It
would just be a Disney picture then at that point, because Pixar doesn't do live action.
You can almost do it like in a Osmosis Jones way.
You know what? You know what's so fucking funny? When I was watching this movie early on, I kind of thought about Osmosis Jones, because I can't really think of very many animation movies where you're getting it told from internal, like the internal, the internal perspective, whether it's the white blood cells or, of course, with this case, like the emotions, because like these are only two movies that come to mind. Can you think of any others? I'm sure maybe I'm missing something, because Soul isn't. I guess Soul doesn't really apply to me.
I haven't seen Soul.
Because that's really more like happens externally, like after.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
It's a fun perspective, like it really is. Yeah. I love the world building of this. And that really just kind of is a great segue to the plot, where we get the introduction of the different types of of Riley's islands of personality, and these are kind of embodied as theme parks, really, right? Where we get Hockey Island, Goofball Island, Friendship Island, Honesty Island, and Family Island. I thought that was a really cool conceptual like way of like showing us like her internal world.
Yep, Goofball is the best. Friendship Island is pretty good too. Oh, I love Honesty Island. And that's the truth. And of course, Family Island is amazing.
I thought it'd be a puzzle.
The point is,
Hey, I'm liking this new view. Friendship Island is expanded. Glad they finally opened that friendly argument.
I think they did a good job of like doing that with a lot of different things, even like having like train of thought.
Oh yeah,
like when they knock over like the boxes and they're like, "Oh, these are facts and opinions." Like, "Oh, I can't tell the difference." Like, "Oh, it doesn't matter."
That was like a really fun. I really love that scene, because again, like that's like to me an example of the humor that's more for us as adults.
Yeah, exactly. Pixar does a really good job of that. Everybody refers to Up as that's a hitter that all adults like will watch, and it just gets you emotional, like get you crying within like literally 2 minutes of watching it.
I'm in Pixar.
But like even like showing like the dream productions and mentioning the subconscious and all that type of stuff.
Dude,
they do a good job of showing all of like your internal like top thoughts.
A favorite of mine, just from a visual standpoint, is when they went into the abstract room.
Talking about. I go in here all the time. It's a shortcut, you see? DANGER. Shortcut. I'll prove it to you. Look at me. I'm closer to the station because I'm taking the shortcut.
Whoa! What's happening?
No, they turned it on.
Never seen this before. My face! My beautiful face! Ow!
What is going on?
We're abstracting. There are 4 stages. This is the first. Non-objective fragmentation.
All right, do not panic. What is important is that we all stay together. Oh!
We're in the second stage. We're deconstructing.
And we see them become 3-dimensional.
I like
or
that
two,
scene.
and then again they become 1-dimensional. Like I thought like those, like the visuals of that was really cool. It kind of reminded me. Have you ever seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
So actually, we need to review that because that's a really fun sci-fi movie. But remember that scene where I think they hit one of those buttons on the ship and it gives different iterations of them. Like one of them is yarn.
Yeah,
like it kind of took me back to that, like just kind of varying like the aesthetics of a scene in that way. Like it was really cool.
Dude, it was pretty funny too. When I think was it Joy maybe? Like, why are we in here? And I told you it was a shortcut. So it's like, bitch, what do you expect? Oh my god!
So they really should put a label up there on the wall. I'm like, bruh, Bing Bong cannot read.
Oh my god!
But we very early on we get the layout of, like I said, her kind of her memories and the important aspects that are that really kind of form her personality, and I also really love early on they foreshadow Bing Bong, where it shows one of the memories I think of her drawing Bing Bong on the table, and then we see like as she's an infant or a toddler, we see how these different emotions are helping her navigate, her environment.
Yeah.
Like remember when she's running, and Fierce like, hold on.
Yeah, she jumped over the corner.
Or when Anger throws the tantrum when she's getting the broccoli, and then he's like, here's the airplane. He's like, oh, planes.
Yeah.
And everybody's like happy now. Everybody's pacified.
Dude, Anger cracks me up so much. Like even when she's having the argument with her dad. And
That's a great scene.
They're having the internal, like you see the dad and his little his little inside out the plan, his emotions, and then compared to hers, like, all right, he's gonna get it. Like, prepare the foot, get the foot. All right,
DEFCON 4.
all right, foot is down, bro. That whole scene with between them and like their emotions playing, that shit fucking cracked me up.
That's a highlight for sure for me.
Make a show of force. I don't want to have to put the foot down.
No, not the foot.
Riley, I do not like this new attitude.
Oh, I'll show you attitude.
No.
Stay happy.
What is your problem? Just leave me alone.
Sir, reporting high levels of sass.
Take it to DEFCON 2.
You heard that, gentlemen? DEFCON 2.
Listen, young lady, I don't know where this disrespectful attitude came from.
You want a piece of this, Pops? Come and get it.
Yeah, well...
Here it comes. Prepare the foot.
Keys to safety position. Ready to launch on your command, sir.
Just shut up!
Fire! That's it. Go to your room. Now.
Foot is down. The foot is down.
Good job, gentlemen. That could have been a disaster.
But like I think what's really cool is like in the first 8 minutes they give us this world both internally and externally that this that Riley is in, and then within those 8 minutes they kind of establish her and her personality as a really happy kid, and that's something that Joy has really almost tried to manage the other emotions, especially as the movie goes on. Sadness, and I would say she actually tries to control, and I think that's where she, as we said earlier, I think when she's alone with Sadness, and she spends a lot of time with her, she kind of learns to surrender that control.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she does like the circle of sadness. Like she tries to like pretty much keep her away. Dude, I made a note that was like, man, Sadness gets treated like a little bitch. Like, god damn, like you're told to sit and like you can make the circle any bigger. Like, god damn, Joy. Yeah. But you, like I said, Joy is trying to keep Riley happy at any cost, and even at the cost of leaving Bing Bong and Sadness behind. When she's like on the journey, try to get back up to communications, and she just pretty much was like, "No, Sadness, you're turning all the core memories sad," and like I gotta do what's best for Riley. She
needs happiness.
Yeah,
or
she
joy.
needs happiness or joy. Yeah, whatever she used. And then Bing Bong and fucking Sadness is just like sitting there, just kind of like, "Damn, girl, you just left us all behind."
Sadness, stop! You're hurting Riley.
No, I did it again.
If you get in here, these core memories will get sad. I'm sorry. Riley needs to be happy. Joy?
But you see how Joy takes that journey as well, and having to relinquish the control and having to understand that Riley has to go through all of her emotions in order to grow as a person.
Well, I think what's cool, I think the writing in this is really great because it is, establishes the life of Riley, and then her life is immediately turned upside down as she moves to San Francisco, and it's really at that point where everything kind of goes to shit. Sadness starts contaminating, I guess if you want to call it that, Riley's memories.
Hey, what gives? What? Hey, Sadness, you touched a memory? We talked about this.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Get back in your circle.
God, she just won't stop touching shit.
Yeah, she just will not. She cannot help herself.
Oh my God, dude. It kind of pissed me off.
It did too. I was like, yo, somebody fucking tie her hands.
Dude.
She is not getting the message. Go to bed, Sadness. Go to bed.
when Sadness makes the core memory and then the ball's rolling out and stuff, and then Joy's trying to get rid of it, but then Sadness is like, no, that's a core memory. I was like, bitch, if you don't back the fuck up because you've done enough touching shit all over here, and now you want to be like, no, that's mine. It's like, bitch, get the fuck out here. Back up. Oh my God, she was. I mean, but obviously that's the point of everything.
That
scene fucking was like almost irritating to just like see that shit.
And that really becomes like a pivotal scene in the storyline, right? Because up to that point, Joy has been doing everything to kind of rally the other emotions to try to put a positive spin on, the move, because it's been a really rough transition. Her room is small. The house is not what she and the other emotions had imagined. The fucking truck is late. Her dad is hella stressed. Her parents, her mom, like their relationship is starting to absorb that stress. And then when, a sad core memory is created, Joy is trying to prevent that from becoming one of her core memories. And these core memories are what have essentially shaped like the islands of her personality, the hockey island, the goofball island, and so on. And in trying to prevent that sad core memory from being established, that's where she ends up getting jettisoned. Her and Sadness get jettisoned from the control center.
Yeah.
And leave, and in doing so, they leave anger, disgust, and fear in control, and that's where like externally everything just kind of starts going to shit, right?
Yeah, once they're left in control, everything goes out of control. Yeah. But also like a scene that kind of kicks it off as well is when Riley is like going to school for the first time, and because everything's kind of like being okay, like obviously she's having her reservations and whatnot, but once she starts like Sadness gets a hold of like one of the memories, because she's starting to talk, like the teacher's starting to talk to her about Minnesota, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm on the hockey team and yada yada yada, and then Sadness is on like touching one of the memories, and then so she starts crying, and then she starts becoming like fearful of that because like, I can't believe I'm crying at school right now.
That was a really sad scene though, actually.
Yeah,
because she starts off really positive, talking about the memories of coming from home, and then Sadness touches that memory, and it makes Riley sad, and she cries in front of the class, and she's this new kid. And I love the lead up to that. He's like, Joy tasked Fear with creating a list of all the possible things that could go wrong. And then he says, yeah, and then the other one, teacher calls us in front of the class.
And then immediately we got a new kid.
Oh my God, he loses it.
Dude, another thing, like when the dad leaves at the beginning and she's like, oh, there's a pizza place.
Oh God. Yeah.
Go grab some pizza. And first of all, I mean, what Anger says, it was just like, first the Hawaiians ruined pizza, and now you. That's talking about San Francisco, like when they go and the server, whoever, hands them a slice of pizza with like broccoli and shit on it. I was kind of like, okay, hold on. Nobody's just gonna hand you a random slice of pizza. You saw that, you picked it out, you eating it. I don't know what the fuck. Like, nobody's just gonna hand you a broccoli pizza and just be like, "Here, eat this."
And if you did, you fucking disrespectful right now, bro. Get the fuck out of here. And I said pizza, and you brought me a broccoli and cheese pizza.
I know, like, bro,
we got problems.
But honestly, if it was legitimately a broccoli and cheese pizza, there's worse combinations. I could get over that. I'd be like, "What the fuck is this?" But
I picked the broccoli off.
I might pick the broccoli.
Pizza.
Honestly, I'd probably still eat the broccoli. I'd probably just eat it separately.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you brought me a pizza with like olives and mushrooms on it, I'd find that way more disrespectful. Fuck that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of olives.
Hell no.
And mushrooms on pizza.
No.
I'm traditional. Give me some pepperoni.
Yeah,
good.
I'll keep it classic. I don't mind Hawaiian. I don't get up in arms like some people do. Like, it doesn't belong on pizza. I don't mind it. It's whatever.
I've grown more moderate on this topic over my years.
Oh, you used to be
I used to be like, what the fuck is this?
Really?
Yeah, because it's like, why? I like pineapple. First of all, I'm not a big Canadian bacon fan. They can even do that right.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Shout out to our Canadian folks out there. But no, I wasn't a fan. But that scene is hilarious.
Yeah. Dude,
very much a letdown.
Dude, well, when Anger says that, it's just like, God damn it, San Fran. That shit fucking cracked me up. But it was also, when you think about it, it's like that scene doesn't really make sense because nobody's just going to hand you a random slice of pizza.
Yeah.
Hey, I asked for pepperoni. Oh, this is all we got. Come on now.
Yeah. What did you think about, once Joy and Sadness leave the control center? What did you think about like just kind of being introduced to like this world of memories, like outside of, where we've kind of been the entire movie up to that point?
I mean, once they kind of like get jotted off and like they're kind of on their own little journey. I mean, the movie still going like really well. It's almost like as a viewer, you almost get a sense of anxiety because you're just seeing like the bad path that Riley's kind of Riley's going down.
Yeah.
And because, excuse me, that anger and this fear and disgust cannot be left alone with those controls.
No.
But coming across, because like I said, I haven't seen this movie in so long, and I just kept hearing all this stuff for like Bing Bong, like justice for Bing Bong. And granted, it is a sad scene when Bing Bong ultimately
sacrificed himself.
Yeah, makes the ultimate sacrifice. So
that Joy can escape like the valley of dying memories, so that she can get back to the control center. Headquarters. Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, make Riley remember me. And watching this, I'm like, yeah, it is. Like I said, it's a sad scene. It kind of it tugs at your heartstrings a little bit. It's no Coco, but I'm like, justice for Bing Bong, man. Justice for the people in Cloud Town. Did you see those people?
Forget it, Cisco. It's Cloud Town.
Forget it. Forget it, Jake. It's Cloud Town. That dude, Bing Bong murdered that guy. First of all, he's taking his shit. And Joyce just took his shit, and then Bing Bong gets caught, and then he just murders that guy. Then Joy comes back and just runs right through the wife when she's explaining to the cops what happened.
Yo, that shit reminded me of old dude in
boys. Bro, that's exactly what I thought. A-Train man running right through her. Oh. Forget it, Jake. It's Cloud Town. I'm like, justice for Bing Bong. Fuck that. Justice for the 2 Cloud Town people. We got
Cloud Town.
We got 2 bodies in Cloud Town that will never be found.
Those are glasses. Oh man.
But I mean, like I said, it's almost like anxiety inducing, which is almost an Easter egg to the second one. When you're just seeing sadness and joy kind of go through the process, you're seeing all the islands just collapse. You see the train of thought end up collapsing, and then when you cut back to see Riley and just the downfall she's going down, it's it's anxiety inducing because you want Joy to get back to headquarters.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, sadness, anger, and disgust are doing their best impersonations of Joy at the dinner table. And it's so fun to see the internal like emotional dialogue happening with each of the parents as they're trying to interpret like what's happening with their daughter and trying to kind of probe.
She's probing.
And I know Anger knew it immediately. It was so funny when she's like trying to get the father's attention and he's like thinking about hockey.
Yeah.
And then she's just like, yo, we left the Brazilian helicopter pilot for this. I was like, yo, y'all are grimy.
When they cut to him, like, come with me.
That was so funny, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean that whole scene was really, really fun. But that was just like an example, right, of them trying to fill Joy's shoes in her absence, and she ends up getting sent to her room. It is, you know, all this is happening like because they don't have the core memories. Like these islands of her personality are falling off into like that kind of, what do they call? What was it called? Like that canyon of like where all the memories die. So all of these islands were falling off as they were atrophying, basically. You know, and that when she kind of has that confrontation with her parents and gets sent to her room, we see the family island start to fall off. Yeah, and Goofball Island falls off too when the dad tries to, you know, cheer her up.
He's like, I'll just leave you alone.
He said, I know you need some alone time. But I thought that was a really great scene. Definitely a highlight for me. But, you know, we also see the mine workers going through the memories and just like discarding the old useless memories to the dump. Yeah. And, you know, was it the triple dent gum commercial as a long-term memory was hilarious. It's like the mine workers trolling the people at headquarters. Dude, and Anger's like, again?
Dude, when they dropped that in at the end, it was like the last, I forget whose mind they go inside towards like the end, like during the credits, and then the commercial comes up again. And he's like, God damn it! I forgot they throw that little Easter egg in.
Was it the bus driver?
Yeah, it was the bus driver. Yeah. It was because they're all
angry.
They're all sitting behind their little buses too.
Oh,
they're like, man. All right, go to our happy place. Let's see what our happy place is. Like, oh, the triple mint gum. Oh, son of a bitch. Dude, honestly,
those scenes were so fun, man.
Just watching this, thinking, I mean, I don't watch like too many. I mean, I don't mind animated movies at all, but it's not really one of my go-tos. It's not really what I sought out after when I'm like picking out a movie usually.
Yeah.
But even compared to, I like Toy Story, but man, this movie really made me like laugh out loud a lot.
This one did?
Yeah, like there was like I said, where there was anger with some of his comments, did the commercial with the gum and the I'm putting my foot down now, like the foot is down, like that shit.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, this is one of the, I said off the top of my memory, maybe one of the best Pixar movies that's made me laugh this much.
We were going to talk about Legacy. Fuck it, let's do it now. I was going to ask you, where does this rank in Pixar's filmography? It's because it does have top competition. But let me just say this.
Well, let's bring up
Pixar
movies right now.
There's so many great one-liners in Toy Story. I don't believe that man's ever been to medical school. There's so many funny ass scenes in that movie. Like, oh man.
Toy Story. I mean, Toy Story should just be included as like one thing instead of being like, well, like if I have a top 5, Toy Story 1, 2, 3, and 4 is like my top 4. It should just be like the Toy Story series.
Well, you know
that's how I would look at like if I was doing a ranking.
The only reason I say I don't know about that is because I think Toy Story 3 might be my favorite of all of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that while all of the other ones are great, in my opinion, I think that one hits a different level for me just because I think the writing was better. Like, I think like they actually stepped their game up on the writing of that movie.
Yeah, I think I personally do and would have Toy Story 3 as my favorite Toy Story.
Yeah.
So if I was making a ranking, Toy Story 3 would probably, like I said, top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, Toy Story 3 would make it. Would Inside Out
be top 5?
Like where would Inside Out be top 5? I don't know, because let's think.
I got Wall-E up my top 5 personally.
I haven't seen Up or Wall-E recently enough to really put a label on it.
Okay.
So Coco would definitely be in there for me. Toy Story 3, The Incredibles.
Ooh.
Elemental was good recently. Luca's good. Man, would have to put it. Well, Inside Out, maybe not, because I do like the second one. I think a little bit more. I would have to like. I've only seen Inside Out 2 once, but just off of like recently watching both of these, I think I enjoy the second one. So I think I would. I think I would probably have Inside Out 2 as a top 5 Pixar movie for me, just because I haven't seen like a shit ton of like a Pixar movies. Like some of the classics, like even like Finding Nemo. I haven't seen Finding Nemo.
Oh, that's
Monsters
a really
Inc.
good one.
Those are
Finding Nemo's fucking fantastic, dude. I think you would really
like
that.
Ratatouille. I just missed that.
I've actually never seen that one.
That's a good one. But like even like Wall-E or Up,
Wall-E and Up definitely top 5.
Those probably wouldn't make it because I definitely really enjoyed watching those from what I remember. But
I thought Brave was fun. I don't think it's top 5 for me, but I thought it was a fun movie. Just thinking about the list of movies. Honestly, bro, Toy Story 3 and 1 might both be on my top 5.
If you had to make a number 1 right now, what would it be?
Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3? I think I'd probably go with Coco.
Damn, I need to see Coco.
Coco made this blunt smoker shed a tear, man. When I was home alone in my apartment. Just sitting there like, oh shit, man.
Damn it, Coco.
God damn it, Coco. Just let it go, man. Just let it go. Well, with that being said, should we shift in? Well, do you have any other negatives you want to talk about this movie?
I was just gonna say negative.
Because it's not gonna get a perfect score from me.
No. I was gonna say, I think for me, a high would be when Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong enter Riley's dreams. Like seeing like the whole dream production, like it's like a little Hollywood studio
with the dog,
and where they're trying to wake her up so that they can board the thought train to get back to headquarters. We see how the dreams are made using the reality distortion filter.
Oh my god!
And basically, the camera is Riley, and she's having this dream where, like, the dialogue is very stilted, and Sadness is watching, Fear is watching this. She's like, pick a storyline, pick a plot line. Yeah,
this actress is terrible.
And then
like, I bet she has no pants on. Oh, I'm not wearing pants. Yeah, I've seen this before. Like, this shit was hilarious.
And they're trying to wake her up, and they ended up going out there. Joy still, being very much possessive of like. Being very possessive and like in control, and wanting to be in control, says, "Hey, maybe if we just make her really happy, it'll wake her up."
Wake her up with excitement.
Yeah, excitement. And Sadness is like, "No, that's not it." And they put the dog costume on, and they end up getting detached. Sadness is in the rear, Joy is in the front, and with the filter, the reality distortion filter, it looks like a dog is severed in half and chasing its hind legs. And
his hind legs are still moving too.
Still moving. You can see like parts of the inside of like the dog, and Fear is like, "Oh my god!" He like faints and hits the button and
You see Fear
wakes her up.
Dude, Fear was just like, it's just a dream. It's just a dream.
Well, no, it didn't wake her up. I'm sorry. He was trying to wake her up.
Yeah.
The clown is what wakes her up when they take her to the subconscious. That was a really fun. I think that whole sequence was a highlight for me, just because like I love the different themes that it's touching on, whether it's like how dreams are produced, or like just like the the subconscious where a lot grandma's vacuum, and the clown, and a lot of these things that she had kind of memories that she's repressed. Sometimes even fears obviously kind of are dwelling or being held prisoner in this like dungeon.
I like how they start the dream, how the car is just kind of floating, and then it just kind of like floats down. And it's just like you're there, because even in like they don't make it, but I'm just thinking of Inception, where they mention it's like you never know how you actually, when you start dreaming, you never know how you actually got there. You're just in the grocery store, or just you're on top of something,
Such
or whatever.
A great movie.
It is a great movie, great movie. But how they represented like how a dream starts, I thought that was also a good aspect of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, dude, this is a fun movie just across the board. I really loved it. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the second one. But yeah, I mean, what did you have any negatives? I mean, what came to mind? I mean, did you have any issues with this movie?
I mean, some of the issues I think I had with it was more
the broccoli pizza.
Yeah, kind of stuff like that. Just like, I wouldn't say like silly things, but it was just little minute details, stuff like that. And that was just more of like didn't turn me off of the story at all, but it was just kind of like, I don't know if that would actually kind of happen like that.
When I was watching this initially, I was kind of thinking, when things were starting to go awry and her islands of her personality started crumbling, I remember thinking, it's like, man, these so-called like pillars of her personality, they seem to be very, very fragile. Like a small incident, like remember when she hung up on her computer, she was FaceTiming her friend back in Minnesota, and the friend mentioned, this is after Joy and Sadness are gone from headquarters, and the friend is telling Riley about the new girl who's kind of taken Riley's place on the hockey team, and she's saying, oh, she's great, and she shows her a picture, and anger is like, he loses it and prompts Riley to shut her computer down. And in the call, she's like, hey, I gotta go. And next thing you know, you see Friendship Island like crumbling. I was like, this was nothing. I thought it seemed like very much like it didn't take a lot. Like these aspects of her personality seem very fragile. And I guess thinking about it, in some ways, I guess it does kind of make sense, because she's so young. She doesn't have a lot of experiences. So some of these things that are kind of foundational are, in totality of her life, very like, I mean, it's so early in her life to really be so essential. So it doesn't, maybe it's not as central as we would think. That's and exactly. Not as strong, consequently, as like a aspect of her personality.
That's exactly what I would think. Is just like, she's just super young. She's very impressionable. That like anything like that, I try to go back to like even when I was like that age, and it's like any slight thing can maybe just teeter you to just go do something like not crazy, but just extreme or whatever like that. It's like, oh, is that cool? Maybe I should start doing that. Or oh my God, like they didn't text me back, or they didn't do this or that. It's like you're super young, you haven't gone through like you said, numerous experiences to know like what things mean and things like that, which I think they could play with as far as like, I'm not sure if they touch on that in the second one. I've only seen it once. I have to go back and rewatch it, but I think that's something they could use maybe in future movies, especially if they follow Riley the older she gets. Maybe her islands get more sturdy, and even like when they go into the adults, like when you're younger, you have like bam bam, you got all these islands, and then when you get to your 30s 40s, it's like, I only got like 4 islands, but they're rock solid.
And one of them is fantasy football.
Yeah. It's like you see all the islands are built like when you're younger, just built like you said, like almost like, let's say with like a straw type of aspect. But then once you get to the adults, it's like these islands are built more with brick. I don't have many of them, but you're not knocking these islands over because I built them over time. Yeah, I think that's a story wise you can easily play with that.
No, for sure. I think that does make sense. As I, stepping away from the movie after watching it. Another funny aspect of this movie is at the very end where the parents had the face paint on.
Yeah.
And she's like, and internally, like the dad is saying, I knew she'd like the face paint.
Yeah.
She's like, it is a good idea. They throw away the memory of the Brazilian helicopter pilot.
Just in case.
Just in case, right? But that scene was funny. And then we immediately pivot to Riley bumping into this guy who drops like his water bottle. And she picks it up and hands it to him. And he's just and internally, he's like, girl. Yeah. They're all freaking out inside this boy. That was a really funny scene. I thought that, I love that part too. Just, the awkwardness that often exists between, boys and girls.
So it says they could keep following Riley, or they could go into a boy's aspect, or they can go into an adult. Or obviously they showed that you can go into, going into an animal probably won't be as fun, but it's like, you have different avenues to take this franchise. So
yeah, no, definitely right. For me, man, I'm thinking about a negative. I don't know if I'd say I don't hold it against this movie, especially now that there's a second one. And so I'm curious to see how much they expand in terms of giving these different emotions some depth. But I definitely would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that, with anger and fear and disgust. Because at times, like, disgust almost seemed a little bit more one-dimensional compared to the other characters.
Yeah. I think
she had some good lines. Like, she was funny too, but like, I guess like I'm curious to see if they'll give us more meat to the other characters as well.
Honestly, I'm not sure if you get too much aspect to the other characters, because then when they bring in the new ones, you got to show them as well. I think they get their moments to shine, but I'm not sure like how much like deep characterization we're going to get from like anger or fear or disgust, besides like the like surface layer type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, and I think it was a good choice to have joy and sadness as the central characters.
Yeah,
but I think those other emotions, especially because they're having to really step up and try to fill the void left by joy. Mm-hmm. I think maybe a little bit more time with them would have been fun, because I think that there are the situations that you could have put them in, or put Riley in, and where they're trying to respond and do as Joy would do and fail spectacularly.
Inside Out, the alternate ending where Riley doesn't get off the bus.
Yeah, she's on the back of a fucking milk carton. This is crazy.
Like you said earlier, all of a sudden it goes down like a call girl.
Oh no.
With that being said,
man, should
we go into scores?
Let's pivot to the scores, man. What you got?
I'm not going to be too elaborate on it, but I'm just going to go with 4.5. This was a rock solid movie for me. All in all, you don't have to say animated movie or anything. All in all, this is a great movie for yourself or for the family. I mean, how they go into whether the themes of the movie, having to experience all of your emotions to be complete as a person. That's something you could take no matter how old you are. So this movie is relative to anybody at any age. And so 4.5 is where I land.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude, I'm just kind of torn between these two scores. I'm going to go with a 4. I really like this movie. I do want to make sure that that's clear. I really enjoyed it. I think like the actual POV that they're telling this story from, I think, is unique in Pixar's history. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciate and value that as this, like, I think that the storytelling in this is really fun, showing that this young girl who's making a really, who's basically being uprooted from her community, and just the internal turmoil that can cause for such a young person. I really like that aspect of it. I love like the narrative arc of sadness and joy. I might talk myself into 4.5.
I mean, it's really it's funny.
It's a really fun movie. Something that this is maybe this is kind of something I thought there's more opportunity for. Like, I really loved what they showed us of the world outside of headquarters, and I wanted more from those characters.
Yeah.
You know, like I love this funny scenes, right, where the guys in Imaginary Land are building the house of cards and it falls down.
Yeah.
And then it falls down again because of Joy and them are in there. And he's like, you know what? That's it. I fold. You know, I wanted to get more, understand like, or see more of that world, because I thought that was like a really fun kind of complementary where you have like the blue collar folks who are essentially kind of, you know, doing a lot of the dirty work, I guess, if you want to call it that. I would have loved to see more of that. So I'm gonna stay with the 4, but it is such a fun movie, and it works well for both for families as well as just, you know, just an adult. It hits a lot of notes, and it also has some really emotional moments too that really land. Like at the very end when she returns home after attempting to run away, where she kind of breaks down and she kind of tells them like, hey, I'm really sad and I'm sorry, like, don't be mad, like I can't be who you want me to be right now. I thought that was such a really that was a damn near a tearjerker, you know what I'm saying, because like you really fell for that kid and that character in that moment. Fuck it, it's a 4.5. Fuck it.
It's like,
you know, I convinced myself otherwise, you know, because like it's just such a fun story. It's well written, and they set it up really well for a sequel.
Well, it's like you can obviously rethink and think about yourself as like the kid and going through those type of years.
Yeah, adolescence.
And like growing up and trying to figure out who you are and all that type of stuff. But then if you're older now and you have a kid, you can like obviously experience that in a different way. So no matter how old you are, you can watch this movie and take something from it.
And, you know, to your point, I mean, Peter Docter, I think, talked about this. I believe it was Peter Docter. He mentioned, you know, this story kind of almost like started forming when his daughter was around like 11 or 12, the same age as Riley, and just kind of imagining, you know, all the things that are happening and, you know, within, you know, and as she's maturing. And so, yeah, he definitely, to your point, I mean, it's definitely a parent was approaching this with that in mind.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I think he was actually the voice of the dad, if I wasn't mistaken.
No, I don't think he was. I think it's the actor from.
Oh no! It said Pete Docter, Dad's anger. So he's anger for the dad.
Oh, he's dad. Oh, the dad's anger. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so those are our scores. Man, before we end the episode, what's on your radar, man?
Man, I got a couple of things on my radar, but with Halloween coming up, I wanted to mention 2 movies. I just remember these movies back when I was growing up. I used to see them on VHS, and so like we got Salem's Lot and Nosferatu, and Nosferatu I think was directed by Robert Eggers, the same dude that did like The Lighthouse, and like what was it?
Witch. The Witch.
I think The Witch as well.
I never saw that one.
What was that movie with the Skarsgård dude? Fuck, now I can't think. I could see it's like, I want to say not called Barbarian. But
he was in Barbarian though. Did he do that movie? The one in Detroit?
No, Robert Eggers?
Yeah.
No, he didn't do.
Oh, okay. I didn't think so. I was like, wait, what?
But he did. That. Damn, it's gonna drive me crazy. But those 2 movies are definitely. Fuck, it was right here. The Northman. That's it.
Oh, okay. I heard good things, but I never saw that movie.
It's pretty. I mean, there's some slow parts in it, I think, but that movie hits a lot. It's fucking kind of nuts, especially the final battle. Nosferatu, Salem's Lot, some horror movies that are going to be released, I believe, later this year, or maybe in early 2025. I'm not sure about the release dates, but those 2 movies are on my radar for sure. How about you, Fraser?
Man, Saturday night, that's dropping. The date that I saw was October 11th, but that's dropping. That's based on, like, I guess the first episode of. I think it's the first episode of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's literally taking you behind the scenes as
what's leading up to
the first show, and just like the scramble to get everything ready. Also, like the politics of dealing with the network execs. That looks like a really good drama. Dramedy, I'm assuming is what it's going to be, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. And also the Nickel Boys, which will be dropping in select theaters October 25th. That's actually based off of Colson Whitehead's novel, The Nickel Boys, which, revolves around these kids, young black kids during, I want to say, it's mid-20th century. I want to say it was maybe the 50s or 60s. I can't remember which, but they're sent to, these boys are in a, these young black boys are in a reform school that had a really brutal history. I'm talking like Shawshank level, where kids were being killed and buried. So yeah, that's just what it's based off of. And yeah, really looking forward to that. The book is more than worth your time to check out. And I'm really excited to see what this movie is.
I'll have to check out at least the audio version. I like to listen to some of those when I'm when I'm working and everything.
Oh, for sure. It's a thin book too, which is nice. You can read that in like a week. But yeah, those are the two that are on my radar.
Nice.
Folks, thank you for joining us for another episode of 5 on It. Stay tuned. We're trying to figure out what we're gonna do next. We're thinking maybe the horror side, but
we got Halloween coming up, so we might have it's going to be some horror movies on the radar, so keep a lookout for that.
Peace.
Peace.